Hi, everyone. We are excited to have you here on Sassy Scoop TV, where we dive deep into literature, history, and everything in between. Today, we're talking about one of the greatest novels of all time, War and Peace by Leo Tolstoy. This epic masterpiece is more than just a book. It's a journey through love, war, philosophy, and the human condition during the Napoleonic era. This introduction is just the start. Stick around because we'll have a detailed and lively podcast discussion about the novel, where we break it down further, explore its characters, and reflect on its timeless themes. Now, let's get into it. Introduction to War and Peace. It is set in early 19th century Russia during the Napoleonic Wars. It's a sprawling epic that intertwines the lives of aristocrats, soldiers, and common folk, capturing both the grand sweep of history and the intimate details of personal lives. Through its 15 books, Tolstoy blends historical events, personal drama, and philosophical musings, creating a work that transcends genre. Overview of the plot. Book 1. A World in Flux. The story begins in 1805 at a social gathering hosted by Anna Pavlovna in St. Petersburg. Here, we meet the main characters. Pierre Bezukhov, an awkward but kind-hearted man who unexpectedly inherits a massive fortune. Prince Andrei Bolkonsky, a disillusioned aristocrat seeking meaning in life. Natasha Rostova, a lively and romantic young woman from the warm-hearted Rostov family. Nikolai Rostov, Natasha's patriotic brother, eager to join the military. This opening paints a vivid picture of Russian aristocracy while setting the stage for personal and political upheavals. Books 2 to 4, Love, War, and Betrayal. As Napoleon's forces threaten Europe, Andrei and Nikolai join the army. Andrei distinguishes himself in the Battle of Austerlitz, but becomes deeply disillusioned by the futility of war. Meanwhile, Pierre struggles with his newfound wealth and a toxic marriage to the manipulative Helene Kuragin. Natasha grows into a beautiful young woman, catching the attention of Prince Andrei. Their love story offers hope, but societal pressures and a delayed engagement complicate their happiness. Books 5 to 7. The personal collides with the political. Natasha's innocence is shattered when she falls for the charming but deceitful Anatole Kuragin, leading to a broken engagement with Andrei. This betrayal devastates Andrei and plunges Natasha into despair. Pierre, who has always admired Natasha, steps in to comfort her, beginning his journey towards self-discovery and spiritual awakening. On the battlefield, Nikolai faces the grim realities of war. Meanwhile, Pierre, inspired by Freemasonry, searches for deeper meaning in his life. Books 8 to 10. Napoleon's invasion of Russia. The story reaches a dramatic turning point in 1812 when Napoleon invades Russia. The burning of Moscow and the Rostov family's evacuation highlight the resilience and suffering of ordinary people. Pierre, attempting to assassinate Napoleon, is captured and witnesses the horrors of war firsthand. Prince Andrei returns to the battlefield, but his wounds prove fatal. His reconciliation with Natasha before his death offers a poignant moment of forgiveness and redemption. Books 11 to 12, Rebirth and Renewal. As the war ends, Pierre is freed from captivity, emerging with a renewed sense of purpose. Natasha, now matured by grief, nurses him back to health. Their love story culminates in a heartfelt union, symbolizing hope and continuity. Nikolai marries Mary Bolkonskaya, Andrei's sister, ensuring stability for both families. Books 13 to 15, Tolstoy's Philosophical Reflections. The final books shift from narrative to philosophical discourse. Tolstoy questions the concept of great men, like Napoleon shaping history, emphasizing the collective actions of ordinary people. This reflection underscores the novel's central themes of free will, fate, and the interconnectedness of human lives. Key themes in War and Peace. 1. The duality of war and peace. Tolstoy contrasts the chaos of war with the tranquility of domestic life, showing how both shape human experiences. 2. Love and forgiveness. From Natasha and Pierre's evolving relationship to Andrei's reconciliation with Natasha, the novel highlights the redemptive power of love. 3. The search for meaning. Characters like Pierre and Andrei grapple with existential questions, reflecting Tolstoy's own spiritual journey. For the role of history, Tolstoy challenges the notion of individual heroism, portraying history as a complex web of collective actions. Why it matters today. Even though War and Peace was written over 150 years ago, its exploration of human resilience, morality, and the impact of historical events remains relevant. Whether you're navigating personal struggles or reflecting on global challenges, Tolstoy's insights offer timeless wisdom. That's just a glimpse of what War and Peace has to offer. In our podcast discussion, we'll dive even deeper into its characters, themes, and the philosophical questions it raises. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss our upcoming episodes. Let's continue decoding this masterpiece together on Sassy Scoop TV.
Hey there, fellow bookworms and lit lovers. Welcome to Sassy Scoop TV, your go-to spot for all things books.
That's right.
I'm Alex.
I'm Casey.
And we're here to make even the most daunting classics
Accessible and enjoyable.
Exactly. And today, we're diving headfirst into a true literary giant.
Oh, yeah.
Leo Tolstoy's War and Peace.
Big one.
Now, we know it's a big one,
Uh-huh.
infamous for its sheer size and complex storylines, but trust us.
Yeah.
This deep dive will leave you feeling less intimidated and a whole lot more intrigued
Absolutely.
by this epic masterpiece.
Think of us as your literary Sherpas,
Ooh, why that?
guiding you through the peaks and valleys of Tolstoy's world.
Yeah.
We'll unpack the key plot points, introduce you to the main players,
Right.
and explore the big questions that make this novel so timeless.
So first things first, let's set the stage. We're in Russia
Okay.
during the early 1800s, a time of opulent balls, sprawling estates,
Luxurious.
and the looming threat of Napoleon's conquest.
Right.
Tolstoy throws us right into the lives of three interconnected families.
Okay.
The Rostovs, the Bolkonskys, and the Bezukhovs.
All right.
And it's through their loves, losses, and journeys of self-discovery that we really get to experience the heart of this story.
Yeah, it's all about the characters and the connections between them.
Okay, so let's break down these families a bit. The Rostovs are kind of like the heart and soul of the novel.
I agree.
They're warm, generous, and embodied that vibrant Russian spirit Tolstoy captures so well.
Uh-huh.
Their youngest daughter, Natasha, is our captivating protagonist.
Yes.
Full of life, passion, and a touch of impulsiveness.
A little bit.
Her journey is a whirlwind of romance, societal pressures,
Yeah.
and wartime upheaval.
That's Natasha.
Then we have the Bolkonskys, a more reserved and intellectual family known for their pride and strong sense of duty.
Right. Very different from the Rostovs.
Yeah. Prince Andrei, the son,
Okay.
starts off driven by ambition and a desire for military glory. But as the story unfolds, he goes through some pretty intense experiences
He does.
that leave him disillusioned with war and set him on a path of spiritual searching.
Yeah, it's a real transformation for him.
And let's not forget, the Bezukhovs,
Oh, no.
Pierre, the illegitimate son, suddenly inherits a vast fortune
Lucky Pierre.
and finds himself grappling with big existential questions.
Mm.
He's trying to figure out where he fits in society, what his purpose is,
Right.
and ultimately embarks on this winding quest for truth and meaning.
It's a journey.
We see him dabbling in Freemasonry,
Oh, really?
searching for wisdom and philosophy,
Interesting.
and ultimately finding peace in the most unexpected places.
yeah, Tolstoy loves to do that and subvert our expectations.
It's almost like Tolstoy is saying that sometimes the greatest discoveries happen when we step outside our comfort zones and embrace the unknown.
I think that's a big part of it.
Yeah. So we've got these three families. Their lives are intersecting and intertwining.
Yeah, and it's not just random. Tolstoy is very deliberate about how he connects these characters and their stories.
Yeah, and the way Tolstoy weaves together these seemingly separate lives is just masterful. Natasha's coming-of-age story unfolds against the backdrop of grand balls and wartime anxieties.
Right.
Prince Andrei's disillusionment with war mirrors the larger societal shifts happening around him.
Yeah.
And Pierre's search for meaning becomes a microcosm of the human struggle to find purpose in a world often filled with chaos.
Exactly. It's like these characters are experiencing these individual struggles, but they also reflect the larger questions and challenges of their time.
Right, so you've got these captivating storylines.
Absolutely.
But beneath the surface lies a whole network of powerful themes that Tolstoy is exploring.
Uh-huh.
One of the most prominent, of course, is war.
Obviously.
But he's not just interested in battles and strategies.
No.
He's dissecting the very nature of war and its profound impact on individuals in society.
And this is where Tolstoy gets really interesting.
Yeah, I mean, how so?
Well, he challenges that traditional great man view of history.
Okay.
He doesn't see history as a chessboard controlled by emperors and generals.
Right.
Instead, he shows us that history is more like a raging river sweeping everyone along in its current.
Even someone like Napoleon.
Even Napoleon.
So he's saying that even the most powerful figures are ultimately caught up in forces larger than themselves. That's a pretty radical idea for his time, wouldn't you say?
Definitely. Especially in the 19th century.
Yeah.
And it forces us to consider whether our individual choices really matter in the grand scheme of things.
Right.
If we're all just being swept along by this current of history, what does that say about free will and our ability to shape our own destinies?
Big questions.
Big questions. It's a question that Tolstoy leaves us grappling with throughout the novel.
And it makes you wonder if Tolstoy believes free will is an illusion. How does that change our perspective on how we should live our lives? It's a pretty heavy question.
It is.
But that's what makes War and Peace so thought-provoking. And it's not just about war.
No.
He delves into this universal human search for meaning. Each character is grappling with it in their own way.
Right.
Natasha seeks it in love and family, Prince Andrei in spiritual enlightenment, and Pierre through philosophy and personal connections.
It's like Tolstoy's holding up a mirror to us, the readers, and asking, okay, these characters are searching. What about you?
What drives you? What gives your life meaning?
Exactly. And he doesn't give us any easy answers.
Right.
He presents these diverse paths and lets us ponder the different ways humans try to make sense of their existence.
And throughout it all, he weaves in these beautifully complex depictions of love and family.
Absolutely.
We see passionate romances, marriages of convenience,
Right.
and family bonds tested by circumstance.
It's all there.
It's like he's saying that human relationships are messy and complicated,
Oh, yeah.
but they're also the things that define us and shape who we become.
It's true. We see both the beauty and the heartache that come with loving and being loved.
Yeah.
Tolstoy captures the full spectrum of human emotion in these relationships, and it's what makes them so relatable even centuries later.
Okay, so we've got these captivating characters, these grand themes playing out.
Right.
But Tolstoy also has this incredible ability to make you feel like you're right there in the story,
Totally.
living and breathing alongside these characters.
He's so good at that.
I'm thinking of that scene where Prince Andrei, lying wounded on the battlefield, believes he's about to die. The way Tolstoy describes him seeing his life flash before him in this cold white light
Powerful scene.
is just so vivid and emotionally charged.
That scene is so powerful because it speaks to the fleeting nature of life and the way our priorities can shift in an instant. It's like all the things he's been chasing, all the titles and ambitions suddenly seem insignificant in the face of his own mortality.
It makes you question what truly matters in the end, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
And then there's that contrasting scene where Pierre finds unexpected peace
Right.
as a prisoner of war.
Of all places.
He's surrounded by suffering and deprivation, yet he manages to find a sense of serenity in the camaraderie and shared humanity of his fellow prisoners.
It's almost paradoxical, isn't it?
Yeah.
That he finds peace in the midst of war and captivity.
But that's what makes Tolstoy so brilliant.
It is.
He constantly challenges our expectations and shows us that meaning can be found in the most unexpected places.
And speaking of unexpected, we can't forget about Natasha.
Oh yeah, Natasha.
She's such a vibrant character,
Yeah.
but also prone to these impulsive decisions,
Right.
especially when it comes to love.
Her near elopement with Anatole, despite being engaged to Prince Andrei, is a prime example of this.
Right. It's a perfect illustration of how complex human relationships can be.
Yeah.
We see the thrill of infatuation, the clash of societal expectations,
Right.
and the painful consequences of impulsive actions.
It's like Tolstoy is saying that it's okay to be flawed,
I think so.
to make mistakes,
Yeah,
as long as we learn and grow from those experiences.
exactly. And I think that's a message that resonates with everyone. Who hasn't made a mistake in love
Oh, yeah.
or let their emotions cloud their judgment?
Right.
And Natasha's story reminds us that we're all human, we all stumble, but it's those stumbles that ultimately shape who we become.
And that's just a glimpse into the richness and complexity of War and Peace.
Oh yeah, there's so much more.
There's so much more to unpack. From Tolstoy's sharp observations about society to his philosophical musings on life, death, and everything in between.
We've only just scratched the surface. But now, let's really get into the nitty-gritty.
Okay, I'm ready.
We want to unpack some of those aha moments.
Yeah.
Those insights that make War and Peace more than just a historical novel.
Right.
It's like a philosophical exploration of the human condition.
Exactly.
One of the most thought-provoking ideas Tolstoy grapples with is the concept of free will.
Free will.
Throughout the novel, we see characters making choices driven by love, ambition, or simply circumstance. But there's always this underlying question.
Yeah.
Are we truly masters of our own destinies, or are we just playing out roles in a grand script we can't control?
It's like the age-old question. Nature versus nurture, but on a historical scale.
Exactly.
Do our individual choices even matter in the face of these massive societal and historical forces?
It's a question that haunts the entire novel.
Right.
Take Prince Andrei, for example. He starts out so determined to achieve glory on the battlefield.
Yeah, driven by ambition.
Convinced that he's shaping his own destiny. But after facing the brutal realities of war...
Right, the Battle of Austerlitz.
Especially his near-death experience at the Battle of Austerlitz.
Yeah.
He begins to question everything.
Yeah, it makes you rethink your priorities for sure.
He wonders if individual actions have any real weight when set against these overwhelming tides of history.
It's like he realizes that even with the best intentions and careful planning, there's this element of chance, of fate, that can completely disrupt everything.
And what's fascinating is that Tolstoy doesn't give us a straightforward answer.
Right.
He presents both sides of the argument,
Yeah.
leaving us, the readers, to wrestle with this question ourselves.
Right. Is it all predetermined? Or do we have the power to carve our own paths?
Exactly. It makes you think about how much control we really have over our lives.
Yeah.
Are we making choices, or are we being steered by forces beyond our comprehension? It's a pretty heady concept.
It is.
It's what makes this book so intellectually stimulating.
And this idea of free will,
Yes.
it kind of ties into Tolstoy's unique perspective on history, right?
It does. Unlike many historians of his time, he wasn't a fan of the great man theory.
The idea that history is shaped solely by the actions of powerful individuals.
Right. He believed that broader social forces, the collective will of the masses, played a much larger role.
And we see that reflected in the way he portrays even a figure like Napoleon.
Yes.
Instead of being this all-powerful mastermind,
Right.
he's almost depicted as a product of his time, swept along by the currents of history, just like everyone else.
It's brilliant how Tolstoy can zoom out to show us the grand sweep of history, the wars and political machinations, but then zoom back in to reveal the intimate experiences of individuals caught up in those larger events.
Right. We see families torn apart by war, soldiers struggling to survive, lovers trying to find happiness amidst the chaos.
It's like those moments in a movie where the camera pulls back to show a panoramic view, then focuses in on a single character's face to capture their raw emotion.
Right.
We get both the epic scale and the deeply personal impact.
And that's what makes War and Peace so compelling.
Exactly.
It's not just a dry historical account. It's a deeply human story filled with love, loss, faith, and that universal search for meaning amidst the complexities of life.
And let's not forget Tolstoy's incredible talent as a writer.
Oh yeah, he was a master of description.
He was able to paint these vivid pictures with his words. You don't just read War and Peace.
Right.
You experience it.
Remember the scene at the Rostovs' name day celebration?
Yeah.
When they're out hunting with their hounds?
That's a good one.
Tolstoy describes the thrill of the chase, the dogs bounding through the fields, with such visceral detail that you can practically feel the wind whipping through your hair and hear the barking echoing through the forest.
It's like you're right there with them, feeling the adrenaline rush of the hunt.
And then he contrasts that with the quiet intimacy of the family gathering afterwards,
Right.
the warmth of their shared meal,
Yeah.
the simple joys of connection and tradition. He captures the full spectrum of human experience, from the grand to the mundane,
Right.
and makes it all feel significant.
And his ability to evoke powerful emotions through those descriptions is just unmatched.
Oh, absolutely.
That scene where Prince Andrei lies wounded, gazing up at the vast expanse of the sky, is so incredibly moving.
Damn powerful.
He has this sudden realization of his own insignificance in the face of eternity, and it washes over him like a wave of peace.
It's a profound moment of existential awareness. And it's so beautifully juxtaposed with Pierre's experience as a prisoner of war.
Right.
In the midst of suffering and loss, he finds solace in the shared humanity of his fellow captives, realizing that even in the darkest of times, human connection can be a source of strength and comfort.
Those two scenes, so different in setting and circumstance, speak to the heart of what Tolstoy is exploring.
That meaning can be found both in the grand scheme of things and in the smallest, most human interactions.
It's a reminder that we don't always have to search for grand answers or achieve extraordinary feats to find meaning in our lives. Sometimes it's about appreciating the simple things, the connections we have with others, the moments of beauty that surround us.
And it's through these seemingly small details, these nuanced observations about human behavior, that Tolstoy reveals profound truths about life, love, and the search for meaning.
Okay, so we've talked about the plot,
the
characters, the themes, but Tolstoy also drops these little nuggets of wisdom throughout the novel.
He does.
These insightful observations that really make you stop and think.
Like what, for example?
One that always sticks with me is his observation that the strongest of all warriors are these two: time and patience.
Ooh, that's a powerful one.
It reminds us that real change, whether personal or societal, often happens slowly. It's not always about grand gestures or revolutions. It's about persistence, about showing up day after day and putting in the work even when progress seems slow.
It's a message that's so relevant in today's world.
Totally.
Where we're constantly bombarded with instant gratification and the pressure to achieve everything quickly. Tolstoy reminds us that sometimes the most meaningful changes take time. And that patience itself can be a powerful force.
It's like he's saying, don't get discouraged by the slow pace of progress. Keep at it, keep striving for what you believe in, and trust that in time things will shift.
And then there's that other quote that really gets me thinking.
What one?
We can know only that we know nothing. And that is the highest degree of human wisdom.
Whoa. That one's a mind bender.
I know, right? What do you make of that?
To me, it speaks to the importance of humility and the limits of our knowledge. We can learn and study and gather all the information in the world, but ultimately, there will always be more that we don't know.
It's about acknowledging the vastness of the unknown and approaching life with a sense of curiosity and open-mindedness. Rather than clinging to rigid beliefs or pretending to have all the answers.
Exactly. It's about embracing the mystery of life, the things that we can't fully comprehend. And I think that's a really valuable perspective, especially in today's world, where it's easy to get caught up in our own echo chambers and think we have it all figured out.
Tolstoy reminds us to stay curious, to keep questioning, and to be open to new ideas and perspectives, even if they challenge our existing beliefs.
And that's one of the things that makes War and Peace such an enduring masterpiece. Definitely. It doesn't just tell a story. It challenges us to think critically about the world, about ourselves, and about those big questions that have haunted humanity for centuries.
It's a book that stays with you long after you finish reading it.
It does.
It sparks conversations, it prompts self-reflection, and it leaves you with a deeper understanding of the human condition. And there's still so much more to explore.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome back to the final part of our deep dive into War and Peace.
Here we are.
We've journeyed through the grand ballrooms of Russian society. Witnessed the horrors of war. And grappled with some of life's biggest questions along the way.
It's been quite a journey.
It has.
We've seen how Tolstoy masterfully interweaves personal stories with historical events, revealing the complex tapestry of human existence.
But now,
let's
shift our focus to the legacy of this monumental work.
Okay.
Why, after all these years, does War and Peace continue to captivate readers?
That's a great question.
What makes it a masterpiece that transcends time?
I think for me, it's the sheer scope of Tolstoy's vision. He wasn't simply telling a story. He was attempting to capture the essence of human life itself.
Oh, wow.
He explored those universal themes that we all grapple with: love and loss, war and peace, the search for meaning, with a depth and complexity that few authors have ever achieved.
And he did it in a way that felt both epic and intimate. We get swept up in these grand historical events. But we also feel deeply connected to the characters and their personal journeys.
Exactly. It's like he was able to zoom out to show us the vast panorama of history, then zoom back in to reveal the intricate workings of the human heart.
And that's what makes it so relevant even today.
I agree.
We might not be facing Napoleonic armies,
Sure.
but we still grapple with those same fundamental human experiences. We fall in love, we experience loss, we search for our purpose in a world that often feels chaotic and uncertain.
Absolutely. Tolstoy's insights into human nature,
Yeah.
his observations about the way we love, the way we grieve, the way we search for meaning, they still resonate deeply with readers centuries later.
And I think it's also the way he portrays his characters. They feel so real, so flawed, so human.
Yeah.
Think about Natasha's impulsiveness.
Oh, yeah.
Prince Andrei's yearning for something more.
Right.
Pierre's constant questioning.
It's like, we know these people.
We see ourselves in them, in their struggles and triumphs.
He wasn't afraid to show the messiness of life,
Right.
the contradictions that exist within each of us.
And that makes his characters all the more relatable and enduring.
Definitely.
And we can't forget the power of his language.
Oh, his language is incredible.
Tolstoy was a master of description.
A true poet.
He could transport you to the bustling streets of Moscow, the grandeur of a ballroom, the chaos of a battlefield,
Right.
with such vivid detail that you felt like you were right there experiencing it all.
He had this incredible ability to evoke emotions through his words.
Yes.
You could feel the chill of the Russian winter, the heat of battle, the tenderness of a lover's embrace.
And he wasn't afraid to delve into philosophical questions.
No, he goes deep.
He challenged readers to think about free will,
Right.
destiny,
Mm-hmm.
the nature of history,
Big question.
in a way that sparked debate and encouraged self-reflection.
War and Peace is more than just a novel.
It is.
It's a work of philosophy,
Yeah.
a meditation on the human condition.
It's a book that stays with you long after you finish reading it.
Absolutely.
It makes you question.
Yeah.
It makes you feel. It makes you see the world in a new light.
And that, I think, is the mark of a true masterpiece.
Right.
It's a work that continues to spark conversation, to challenge us, to inspire us, generations after it was written.
So if you've been intimidated by War and Peace,
I know it's daunting.
I encourage you to give it a try. It's a challenging read, yes, but it's also an incredibly rewarding one.
It's a journey worth taking.
It is.
You might just emerge from those pages with a new perspective on life, love, and everything in between.
And that brings us to the end of our deep dive into War and Peace. We hope you've enjoyed exploring this timeless masterpiece with us. If you did, be sure to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to Sassy Scoop TV for more literary adventures. And as always, leave a comment below with your thoughts on the novel. We love hearing from you.